President Trump vowed to enact mass deportations once in office, and cities across the U.S. are bracing for a number of President Trump's aggressive immigration policies signed last night. And while we have not seen evidence of deportations just yet, White House Border Czar Homan says that ICE agents are taking action.
They know exactly who they're looking for. They know pretty much where they'll find them. So again, these are well-planned operations. They're well investigated.
And regarding immigration, the U.S. Conference of Catholic Bishops says, quote, the Catholic Church's foundational teaching calls us to uphold the sacredness of human life and the God-given dignity of the human person. This means that the care for immigrants, refugees, and the poor is part of the same teaching of the Church that requires us to protect the most vulnerable among us, especially unborn children, the elderly, and the infirm. And joining us now to talk more about this is Corbett, Executive Director of the Hope Border Institute, an organization that brings the perspective of Catholic social teaching to the realities unique to our U.S.-Mexico border region. Dylan, great to be with you. I know that you've done a lot of work with the USCCB and the Vatican on immigration. A Catholic social teaching, as you know, stresses the right of a country to regulate its borders, but at the same time stresses upholding human dignity and defending the most vulnerable. From that standpoint, what do you think the potential implications are for these immigration policies?
Yeah, concerning signals early on as we go into the next administration. The administration, of course, during the campaign promised a mass deportation and promised to shut down the border to the vulnerable. That's already happening. We've seen significant action with these executive orders. I can tell you here that in El Paso on the Texas-Mexico border, we're already seeing action. The border is being sealed. Very few people are able to access the border in order to apply for asylum. So I'm fearing that that system right now has effectively been abolished. Now, it will be challenged in the courts. We'll see what happens in the coming days and weeks, but they've already taken swift action at the border. On the issue of deportations, you're right. Nation states have an obligation to ensure their borders are safe and that we are not allowing criminals, those who would threaten our safety or our national security to enter into the country. But I think the Church is concerned that these enforcement operations, these mass deportations, mass enforcement operations will inevitably affect our neighbors, people who are in our parishes, who are contributing to our communities, people who contribute to our economy, who serve in the armed forces. There's going to be a lot of collateral damage, and that is something that concerns the Church.
Yeah. Dylan, tell us about who you see there on the border, some of the people that you serve.
Yeah, for years and decades, communities here on the border, like El Paso, we've welcomed migrants. We've provided hospitality to people who are fleeing danger, who are coming to our border seeking protection. And the Church has really been on the front lines of this work, providing hospitality, providing legal services, and really just offering a message of good news. This is the work of Christ. This is evangelizing work. And in El Paso, we also have a significant immigrant community that would be affected by something like mass deportations. But these are people who make our community strong. Our community is largely Mexican-American, but we are vibrant, we are safe, and because we've been able to provide such a warm welcome to migrants over the years, migration is part of the fabric of who we are, much like the United States. And that's what makes our community so diverse and vibrant and strong. So these policies, if they're not proportional, they really do threaten our identity as a community, and they threaten who we are as a country, the values we hold as a country, to really be leaders in welcoming those who need help, who are fleeing danger, who are fleeing war, who are fleeing poverty. The United States has always been a country that's benefited from migrants and immigration. We've known how to do it. We're world leaders in this. And so we're concerned that we're taking a real step back in that area right now.
Yeah, and there are a majority of Americans who are really eager to see some sort of comprehensive immigration reform. And there does seem to be, bipartisan support for that. That being said, what do you think needs to be done here, Dylan?
Yeah, I think the polls consistently bear out that Americans want a system that works. We have to manage our borders. We have to have a system of management that is safe, that is humane, that keeps our country and our community safe, that keeps criminals out, but that's also compassionate, that recognizes the humanity of those who are fleeing to our country because they want to be part of a community. And many of these people who are in our pews in our Catholic schools, they're our neighbors. So we want a system that works. Right now, we don't have that system. And Democrats and Republicans have been guilty of not providing that system. We've got to work for reform. We need comprehensive reform. Hopefully, we're able to move in that direction. But at the moment, we're going to be on the defense, providing, working to help our families as we go through these troubling times when we're shutting down the border and engaging in these really indiscriminate deportation tactics that really aren't going to help us at all.
Well, Dylan, thank you so much for joining us today. We appreciate it. God bless.
Thank you.